was going to say something funny to her, and I decided not to. Sorry about that. Welcome, everybody, to our January 11th City Commission meeting. It is wonderful to see all these happy faces in our audience, so thank you for being here today. We'll call this meeting to order. Jennifer, would you please lead us in our invocation and pledge of allegiance?
Let us begin this meeting by taking a brief moment of silence and reflection as we begin this new year in service of the community. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh. Thank you, Jennifer. As you can see, our other Jennifer Bramley is not with us today. She's out with on a couple of days off, and we have our illustrious Deputy City Manager Jorge Quintas with us. Now, any of you that ever might watch our meetings, is we make sure we give him a lot of crap on the dais when he's here. I mean, this is our thing. We like to rib him. So you never know what might happen during the course of the meeting. This is why he's trying to really look nice today, to impress us so that maybe we'll be nice to him. All right. We've got some great presentations. Dunedin Celebrates Diversity 2024. I'm going to turn that over to Commissioner Walker to call up his folks.
And who will be receiving this proclamation?
I think we have Emily, we have the Shiloh Baptist Church.
Yvonne Borders.
Welcome.
Great.
Okay, Commissioner Walker.
Thank you. This is in celebration of our diversity for 2024. A community united, many paths, one destination. Whereas we live in a world compromised of individuals from many different cultures and backgrounds, and believe that all people are equal and each person unique and valuable. And whereas we respect, accept, appreciate, celebrate, and embrace diversity. And whereas we share an individual and collective moral and ethical responsibility to create a community free from discrimination and prejudice, and whereas our community will celebrate Diversity 2024 with a kickoff event to commemorate the birthday and work of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. on Saturday, January 13th, 2024. Followed by many ethnic and cultural events conducted in Dunedin throughout the year in alignment with Unite. Dunedin, an initiative to unite neighbors in thoughtfulness and empathy, and whereas the initiative strives to cultivate and sustain an inclusive and diversified community that values social justice, unity, shared responsibility, mutual respect, and environmental justice by putting into action positive changes in the City of Dunedin workforce and our community to achieve equality of outcomes in collaboration between employees and residents to accept and create a harmonious environment. Now therefore I, Robert Walker, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Mayor of the City of Dunedin, and on behalf of the entire City Commission, do hereby proclaim Dunedin Celebrates Diversity 2024, a year-long celebration to acknowledge that we are a community united with many paths but one destination, and we encourage all residents to participate in our year-long ethnic events, starting with the celebration of the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., Mardi Gras, St. Patrick's Day, the Highland Games, Cinco de Mayo, Dunedin Pride Week, Our Lady of Lourdes Fall Festival, Dia de los Muertos, Celtic Festival, Piper on the Pier, and the United Face Walk of Peace. Thank you very much.
Good evening, mayors and commissioners.
Good evening.
Coming up this Saturday, January 13th, the Dunedin Parks and Recreation Department, in partnership with the library and Shiloh Baptist Church, will host the kickoff event of Dunedin's 2024 Celebration of Diversity. The Martin Luther King Jr. Unity Breakfast in March will be held at the MLK Center, with breakfast beginning at 8:30 a.m. and will include keynote speaker Mark Bennett, as well as winning essays, readings on the subjects "Everybody Can Be Great Because Anybody Can Serve." You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject a verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. After we've enjoyed breakfast, we will march to Pioneer Park, where we will enjoy entertainment from the Shiloh Baptist Church. The event is free, and all are welcome to attend. I hope to see a spectacular turnout as we honor and celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. I consider it a privilege to work at the center that has his namesake and hope that we continue to unite and create a culture of acceptance and inclusion. I'd also like to recognize the work of Reverend Clem Bell, who couldn't be here tonight, but who is a huge part in making this event so successful. It is my pleasure tonight to accept the proclamation with Yvonne Borders with the Shiloh Baptist Church.
Thank you. Please.
Mayor and Commissioners, my name is Yvonne Borders, and I am a product of Dunedin, Florida. I no longer live in Dunedin, but I am a strong product of it. I would like to thank you all for the continued event planning that you have, and that's continually, I hope, going on with the different cultures being recognized, because we do have a culture that's strong, that's wise, that's resilient, and we want to always maintain that culture and know our history as we continue to grow, especially our history in Dunedin, the things that we have come through, the things we're going through, especially in these days and times. So I just want to thank you all, hope to see you Saturday, and wish you well. Thank you.
Thank you.
A little bit more to the center. There you go.
Thank you, ladies. All right. Now we have our Committee on Aging Intergenerational Week essay contest. So I will call up Brett, who is our Recreation Coordinator, and Cindy Cole, our Committee on Aging Chair. Welcome.
And Carrie Marcella from the Area Agency of Aging.
Awesome. Welcome.
Okay. I want to thank you, Madam Mayor, and all the commissioners for tonight. This is the beginning of the wonderful highlight of the Intergenerational Week that we had in November, October. I can't remember, the time is going so fast. But anyway, what we had was we had invited all students from public and private schools to write an essay on their favorite older person. And tonight, we have 3 wonderful essays from the 8th grade of Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic School in Dunedin. They are students from Mr. Andy Delgado's classroom in English. And I just wanted to tell you that our committee had a hard time choosing because they were all wonderful essays. They touched our hearts, and it was wonderful. So the 2023 winners are going to come up. We'll start with 3rd place, and they're going to read their essay, and we're going to award them a really nice plaque. And go ahead and tell them what you're doing here.
Right, I am with the Area Agency on Aging of
Welcome.
Pasco Pinellas, and we're also very happy to provide gift certificates to each of the 3 winners. Their essays were amazing.
Yes.
And really a true acknowledgement of the love they have for those that they wrote about. But it was really lovely reading them. So.
It is. So 3rd place, Ann Coleman. Will you come on up? This is your
My favorite old person. My favorite old person is Jimmy Buffett. Jimmy Buffett was 76 years old before he died of Merkel cell sarcoma in 2023. Jimmy Buffett is my favorite old person because when I was in elementary school, I would listen to him every day in the car ride at home. Jimmy Buffett has inspired me to sing and even helped me get a main role in my school's play. I love Jimmy Buffett's music because it's a combination of country, rock, folk, calypso, and pop, and anyone can enjoy it. My favorite Jimmy Buffett song is Cheeseburger in Paradise because I like the beat that the song uses and I like cheeseburgers. Jimmy Buffett was a very good singer, but he was also a very good person in general. Jimmy Buffett saved a dying restaurant spot and opened a restaurant there. The name of the restaurant inspired by one of his songs named Margaritaville. Jimmy Buffett also created a charity called Save the Manatees. Save the Manatees is a group that ensures manatee safety and helps fund the Florida Manatee Critical Care Program. Jimmy Buffett helped not only bring popularity to Florida, but also improved Florida overall. The Save the Manatees charity has inspired other people to join and help save manatees. Overall, I think Jimmy Buffett is a great person to be inspired on, and I hope he is being treated well up in heaven.
Okay, our second place winner is Kaylin Littlejohn, and we give her this. Okay, here's your certificate.
We recognize that name.
There are many different leaders that are in society. My grandma impacts my life drastically throughout her dedication to community service and being a good role model. Susan Littlejohn is a fantastic musician that plays the violin, cello, and piano, and played in the Clearwater Orchestra along with her mother, the founder. In addition, she has also impacted my life by inspiring me to become a pianist myself. My grandma inspires me. She has expressed her leadership towards all generations. She was the president for 10 years in the Dunedin History Museum, twice vice president, and a board trustee for over 23 years. This shows me her dedication to serving the community. She has also served as a director for the Chamber of Commerce, volunteering at golf tournaments, Christmas events, and cleaning up the bike trail. She has been a business entrepreneur for 40 years in Dunedin and has won Miss Delightful Dunedin in 2015. Her biggest accomplishment is in Virginia. She served on the state special education to help students with learning disabilities to get the education they need without having to pay for a tutor. All of these things that she does to help the community really inspire me as a person to express kindness and my hard-working qualities to everyone I meet. However, she just not impacts me, but also everyone she meets.
Yay! Man, Susan. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Okay, now our third place is
First place.
Okay,
Oh, no,
sorry
we've
about-
been waiting
we'll
for the first
scratch
place.
that. Okay, our first place is Gianna Bottom. And here's your certificate. Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations.
My favorite older person. Katherine Johnson's remarkable life has had a profound impact on my own journey. Her determination and resilience through gender and racial discrimination served as a constant source of inspiration for me. While I may not face the same challenges she did, I deeply admire her ability to overcome racism and sexism. Katherine's brilliance shone from an early age when she graduated high school at 13 and college at 18. She joined NACA, now NASA, working in an all-black West Area computing section. However, her most significant moment came in 1962 when she, as a black woman in an all-white male workforce, helped calculate the trajectory for John Glenn's historic orbit around the Earth. Despite facing discrimination, she became a necessary part of the mission and became an American hero. Her passion for mathematics inspires me, as I too have a profound love for the subject. She encourages me to dream big and consider a career in mathematics. Catherine's ability to confront discrimination and excel not only made her an American hero, but also a global role model for women and girls. Notably, her remarkable achievements were recognized with the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Barack Obama and the Congressional Gold Medal from Donald Trump. Katherine Johnson's legacy of breaking barriers and her extraordinary contributions to science and mankind continue to motivate me daily, and she will forever remain my most valuable source of inspiration.
Awesome. Okay, so I think we want to have them all come up, right, so we can get a picture?
And can I just say something?
Please.
So I want to say thank you to Andy Delgado, right here. He's the teacher.
Hey, Mr. Delgado. Look what you've inspired.
What's that?
Look what you've inspired.
Yes, and I have to say, as a former school teacher myself, I was very impressed because he had over 20 students submit essays for this contest, and so that really means a lot. It means a lot for you to see the importance of being a part of the Dunedin community and participating in Intergenerational Week. So we really appreciate you taking the time to do that, and thank you again to all of our winners. Your essays were wonderful. You're amazing writers, and I know you're going to have a bright future.
So come on, let's take a picture. Yeah, bring your awards up. You can hold them up.
Just a little bit in the middle.
Mr. Delgado, I think you need to be in the picture too.
I'm in the picture too?
Somebody will take the picture for you.
Sure.
You've definitely got to be in that. There you go.
And can we get closer? Can we get closer, please? And show up your, there we go, 1, 2.
Wait, can we get Mr. Delgado's in the pic? Can we get his camera too?
Yeah.
And I think everybody wants. Go ahead.
I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Uh-oh, he wants to take one too. Yeah, I'm not saying no to the man with the gun. Yeah, we got Mr. Delgado's. Let's get his. All right, thank you guys. Good job. And if you need to sneak out, you can go ahead and do that right now. I won't make you sit through the whole meeting. Thank you guys, and congratulations. Oh, okay, I gotta. All right, and we'll go to our third and final presentation of the night, which, I mean, we have some real lookers in the audience today, which I'm so excited about, because I'm like, when that stuff went back up in the attic, I was like, good riddance. All right, we have the presentation of the 2023 Holiday Parade winners. So Alicia and the Dunedin Youth Guild, please come forward.
We are jazzed to be here tonight.
I know. Come on down, baby. Yeah, we'll get pictures.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and City Commission. My name is Alicia. I am a program coordinator for the Parks and Recreation Department. Thank you for allowing me the time to come and give the report of the 2023 Holiday Parade. On December 9th, 2023, the Parks and Recreation Department hosted the Holiday Parade and Old-Fashioned Christmas event. This year, we had 114 units in the parade. Wow. That's a lot, to say the least. The parade was successful because of many people who gave their time, talents, and energy. I would like to thank our co-sponsor, Dunedin Youth Guild for volunteering their time during the planning process and their hard work the day of the event, as well as sponsoring our winners. I have to tell you, Susan Wilson is like part of the brains of the organization. So without her...
But she's been doing it a long time. I mean, how many years have you done it?
I honestly couldn't even tell.
I mean, as long as I've been here. And that's almost 18 years, so.
Yeah, and this is
probably
my
longer.
14th year, so...
So, yeah,
doing
she's
it
been
longer.
doing it for a long time.
So I also want to thank my parade committee co-chair, Stephanie Kensinger.
Thank you, Stephanie.
She's the head lifeguard at the Highlander Pool. I challenge her every day, and she takes it with strides, so congratulations to you. I also like to thank our City of Dunedin staff. That's going to be our Parks and Recreation Department, Public Services, that's Facilities and Traffic, our Sheriff's Department, Fire Department, Engineering, and our Communications Department. I would also like to thank all the wonderful volunteers who participated with us, because without them, we wouldn't be able to bring all of our dignitaries down the parade in those wonderful cars that we had. So a special thank you to Jay Archer and his Antique Car Club, Sully Hansen, who had a really cool car this year, our Stampede Car Club, which is our Mustangs, Sunset Jeepers, Pinellas County Jeepers, and our Jolly Trolley. The Dunedin Youth Guild has participated in the holiday parade for many years. I would like to now turn the presentation over to our Youth Guild representative, Susan Wilson, who will who will share with you and our viewers who the most creative, best children's, and overall winners are.
Let's hear it.
They're ready for you.
Hey.
Drum roll.
Yeah, they are. Okay. Just a quick note. The Youth Guild was the one to start the parade in Dunedin. And it could not continue without our cooperation with the city. I mean, it just got too big and too much for us ladies to take care of. And there was too much that needed to be done with the city in coordination. So it was really a big help. And could not do it without you. Now this is the most creative, so this goes to the windlasses.
Yay!
Thank you.
Look at you guys.
I know. You
Our rockin'
How we got most
sailors.
creative, but we tried to continue the
Prettiest sailors I've ever seen.
Yeah. And I just want to thank you on behalf of my fearless crew and all of the windlasses. Thank you.
Yay!
And Dr. Sue.
Picture, we got to have a picture.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Picture. You look so cute. Gotta have it. That's okay. I'll slide this way. You don't worry about. I'll move behind you.
All right. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Yay! Congratulations. Thank you.
Okay, our next winner is the most, well, these are children's units, because that's what the Youth Guild can give. So the first one will go to the most creative and theme-oriented children's unit, and that goes to St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church.
Oh, yeah! Awesome.
We have a lot of representatives. We have our new pastor,
Oh,
David
welcome.
Hunsinger, and Brad Byers, and Amanda Bowman, and our children's director, Shannon Green.
Well, welcome,
And
guys.
Sasha.
Congratulations.
So here you go.
Thank you, and we're happy to accept this award, and I will be immediately giving the check to our children's director.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, well, come up, we'll do a picture.
Oh, yes. Oh. Yes.
Okay, wait a minute. There we go. Got it? All right. And welcome to our new pastor.
Okay, our last one is fusion dance, and it is the most creative children's, yeah, overall children's.
I don't believe we had anybody here tonight to accept it, so we'll make sure.
From there, so we'll make sure
Okay.
that they get it.
All right, well, we
But
can
thank
clap
you.
for them too.
Another one more thing.
Okay.
Want to invite all of you to our scholarship luncheon and fashion show. It is our 50th, so it's going to be very special.
Oh, sweet.
And Hospice is doing our fashions again this year. And it will be at the Community Center on March the 2nd.
Yeah.
So look forward to seeing you all there.
All right. Thank you. All right. You guys can all go if you want. Dismissed. And thank you for coming out tonight. I appreciate it. And thanks for all your hard work. Yeah, go.
Antonella, wasn't the holiday parade like the highest peak, you know? Can you just say that? Because I think it's kind of cool for everybody to know that.
So for our analytics, the top post for December and for the year, pretty much it was the holiday parade, the holiday boat parade, and the recap that we do. And then also for the website, the holiday page was the top.
Thanks. No, I just think it explains how important it is to our community to do those things, and thanks to our rec and parks, because that's what makes us a community, really.
All right. Next on our agenda is citizen input. It's time for anyone wishing to come forward and speak on a topic that's not already on the agenda. If it's on the agenda, we'll talk about it at that time. Anybody wish to come forward? Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to action items. We are now on Resolution 24-01, travel policy and travel reimbursement policies for both the elected and charter officials. These are items that we did go over previously and agreed to, and now it's in resolution form. So Jennifer, can you please read this by title only?
Resolution 2401, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dunedin, Florida, establishing travel expense reimbursement policies pursuant to Section 3.05 of the city's charter, providing for the repeal of Resolution 22-03, 19-50, and 20-39, and all resolutions in conflict herewith, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Twanga and Vice Mayor Franey, thank you. Les, you are the one. I guess because it has money involved. I mean, I just didn't expect to see you be the staff person. I guess I thought it might have been Rebecca.
Rebecca passed this off to me. Thank you, Rebecca.
Rebecca passed it up. Rebecca doesn't. Okay. There is no update, really.
Yeah, there's no,
right?
you know, as you mentioned, we discussed this on December 5th, and then your commission had a couple of suggested changes. We made those changes, and the changes were, just real quick, we added for the purpose of supporting in Section 10, for the purpose of supporting our city band and/or other ceremonial and public relations purposes. And we also deleted one section out of Section 10, which was the reimbursable duration of trips for being 4 nights. And that was the only change we made, and then we have
Right.
the clean one for you to look at.
Because we're going to agree to the number of nights that we're going to go at the time we approve the trip annually.
Correct.
Depending on what the situation is,
For Scotland, you mean?
for any of them. Yep.
And those are my only comments. Yeah, that's it.
Well, you know, I talked to Jennifer about adding some verbiage in, not this Jennifer, our Jennifer, but I forgot the verbiage we'd agreed on some. And it just had to do with when we're saying the reimbursable expenses for such trips will be in accordance with current city of Dunedin travel policy, including airfare, that it would say something when it came to Scotland for that part of the trip that was related to official city business. Because we all know everybody's going to go for longer, and just making clarity that it's only the time that's going to be reimbursable is the time that's for official duties.
So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Ms. HR Policy and Procedure Lady Expert. Your mic is off. Your mic is off.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Doesn't our travel policy indicate that it has to be for city business? Do we have to repeat it? I got to assume that our city travel policy says that. Do we need to say it twice?
Yeah, I didn't want future commissions to misconstrue that you're getting a whole trip to Scotland. But again, I agree with that. I just think sometimes things get interpreted differently the longer time passes by. So, but, you know, I
don't care one way or another.
Yeah, I wish I'd had the
What's
verbiage.
the will of the commission?
When this is first reading,
Yes.
right? So there's a chance.
Yeah.
It's a resolution.
Oh, it's a resolution.
Oh, yeah, this is the only thing. So we won't see it again, I don't want to wordsmith. I mean, if we can tell them to add a statement that says, for the portion of city policy, if that's what everybody wants, a representative to this regularly scheduled commission meeting to Sister City in Scotland for the purposes of supporting the city band and/or ceremonial and public relation purposes. The reimbursable expenses for such trips will be in accordance with current City of Dunedin travel policy, including airfare.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good, because, I mean, I think the line above it kind of relates to the fact that obviously if you're staying longer, you're not going to get paid by the city for overnight stays.
No.
And if anything, we understand the intent.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah.
So we can change it next year.
We could, yeah.
And let me just ask you this, since you're looking at words, which I was going to skip right over this because I think I already know the answer, but Jennifer, when it says the reimbursable expenses, in our travel policy, in our travel forms, you can get up to 80% of the what do you call it? The proposed expenses to help you travel. It's part of our travel forms. You know how that is.
You mean the advance?
Yeah, advance.
Right.
So just by it saying reimbursable, it's not changing that, right?
No.
I didn't think it was. No. But I'm just clarifying. Any other from anybody? Okay, anybody from the public wish to speak to this item? Seeing or hearing none. Any final comments? Commissioner Twanga?
I just want to reiterate that I also had discussed this in detail, and I think that as we discuss this for each trip, it resolves most of the issues, and we can understand what's occurring at that point in time and for that particular occasion, and we can discuss it and then make that decision. So I ended up being quite comfortable with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Me too. Okay, Commissioner Franny, Vice Mayor?
No. I'm comfortable, and I support it.
I'm comfortable, I support it.
Commissioner Walker?
Yeah, no further comment.
Okay. All right, nor do I. So roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Walker?
Aye.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Torga?
Aye.
Mayor Burzowski?
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Les. You're not doing the next one too, are you? Are you really?
No.
No,
You are.
Vince is going down.
Who is? Jennifer?
Rebecca is.
No.
Rebecca is.
Yeah, I was going to say. Okay, so the next item is Resolution 2402. Oh, that was our first resolution of the year, because it was 01. We kind of forget about that. Resolution 2402, adopting certain rules of procedure for the commission. And again, we've discussed these things. This is just putting it in official resolution form. So Jennifer, would you please read Resolution 2402 by title only?
Resolution 2402, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dunedin, Florida, adopting certain rules of procedure for the Commission, repealing Resolution 22-01 in its entirety and all resolutions in conflict herewith, and providing for an effective date. That was Resolution 2402, read by title only.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve? Vice Mayor,
Second.
Commissioner Walker. Thank you. Rebecca?
Thank you, Mayor. As 2401, this was brought before the commission at the first meeting in December, and we just had a couple of changes that you requested. And the one is about the AV equipment, just removing that a citizen will be permitted to utilize the document camera, which we don't have anymore.
We don't have anymore.
And just updating it to the new city hall. And so those changes are in there. And you have the red line version and the final version. And the other change that was requested, it had to do with paper ballots. And I'll just read the new verbiage for the paper ballots. All paper ballots must contain the name of the commissioner completing the ballot and the name of the nominee. The city clerk will tabulate, read aloud, and retain the ballots in accordance with the record retention policy. And that's the new, what was discussed and.
Perfect. And you're happy with that?
I'm happy with that.
Okay. Because we don't want Rebecca to be unhappy when it comes to our rules and regs. And that's it, right?
Yes, those
Okay.
were just the two changes that we made.
All right. Any questions or comments by anybody? Concerns? Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak to this item, please feel free to do so. Seeing or hearing none. No final comments, I'm assuming it's just
Nope,
standard
none for me.
operation here. All right. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Gao,
Aye.
Commissioner Torga,
Aye.
Commissioner Walker,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brainy,
Aye.
and Mayor Brzezowski.
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, we are now on to the big issue of the night. Not issue, hot item. Highlander Park Aquatic Complex Design Proposal. I will turn it over to Vince, all the lovely ladies, Les, Jorge, whoever's starting. You have any opening remarks, Jorge?
No, I'd spoken to Jennifer and Vince earlier. I'm just going to go ahead and let them work into the introduction, and then I did participate in some of the scope negotiation and fee negotiations, so I can chime in if there's any questions. I think we did a good job of beating George down, so he can confirm.
Okay, and we have him on Zoom. Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Can you hear us? We can hear you, okay.
Perfect.
All right, Vince, I'll turn it over to you there.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners, this project is real exciting for me to be presenting this evening, as 16 years ago when I started is one of the projects that I first worked on, and then a few things happened in the world and the economy, and but tonight is a big night, and it was also my project and our former Recreation Superintendent, Peg Cummings, project, so I hope she's listening tonight.
Oh, she is. Hi, Peg.
So it's really near and dear to my heart that I get a chance to still be here and be able to present this design. So with that, I just want to introduce all our presenters. Jocelyn Broadhead is here, our Recreation Superintendent.
Welcome, Jocelyn.
Alicia Castercoin, who presented a little bit early on the parade awards. Our aquatic coordinator is with us. Les Tyler will be presenting the financial plan for the aquatic facility. George Borelli is on Zoom. He really was planning on being here tonight, but due to a few unfortunate situations, he wasn't able to leave his home in Orlando, but he is the president and principal in charge of Borelli and Partners, Orlando, Florida, for the past 30 years, and this is actually his third appearance at our City Commission meeting. This is in our new City Hall. The last two were in our old City Hall.
Welcome.
So I'll be just discussing briefly, going through a few bullets on the history and background and how we got here this evening. I'm not going to be going back all the way to 2008. Jocelyn will be then reviewing the scope of service and the project schedule. Les will discuss, as I mentioned, the project budget, and Jorge, Alicia, and George Borelli are here to answer and help answer any questions. So with that, At the November 16, 2021 Commission work session, City Commission approved the award of the architectural design and services of the Highlander Park Aquatic Complex Master Plan to Borelli and Partner. 2 community surveys were completed in 2019 and again in 21, with over 1,000 responses to assist with determining the complex elements and design. Some of the top responses were the activity pool and zero depth entry, slides, lap pool, and lazy river. Top design support features were the shaded deck areas, concessions, lights for night usage, picnic shelters, and indoor activity space. Also, staff between some of the engineering staff at the time and Parks and Rec staff, we visited at least 10, if not more, other equivalent to what we were looking to build aquatic facilities. Lake Eva in Haines City, Northport Aquatic Center, Spirello's YMCA in East Tampa, Largo, Port Richey, and several more. At the March 7th, 2023 City Commission workshop, George Borelli and city staff presented the master plan concept to the City Commission. Consensus direction from the City Commission was to go ahead and move forward. That consensus was provided. Do we have the master plan? We can just show a quick, so everybody from the public and commission can. The master plan was also presented to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee on several occasions and unanimously supported. It was also reviewed by the Youth Advisory Committee. A $1 million donation agreement was signed on June 23, 2023 to the city towards a therapy pool in the Phase 1 of redevelopment. And we've actually received the first payment of that $1 million.
Awesome.
When the request for qualification was written, it was also staff's intent to award one contract for the completion of the aquatic complex master plan and for the architectural services required for design and permitting of the initial construction, which is what you'll be voting on this evening. However, the RFQ does indicate that the city reserves the right to contract with a different consultant for this phase of service if it believes it's in the best interest to do so. City staff is not making that recommendation. Staff has negotiated the scope of service and fees proposal with Borelli and Partners, which are included in your agenda packet. The document is titled Proposal for Architectural Engineering Services for the City of Dunedin Highlander Park Complex Improvements, Complex Phase 1 Improvements. This proposal totals $1,343,757, exclusive of not to exceed reimbursable expenses, which are $18,500. The anticipated budget for this initial construction is approximately $11,038,215. With that, Jocelyn will then now take you briefly through the scope of the project and also through the schedule, the project schedule. And then at that point, Mayor, if you'd like, we can stop and take questions on the project, and then Les will take us through the comments and take us through the comments based on the project budget. So with that, Jocelyn.
Thank you. So as Vince mentioned, the scope of the design and construction documents for the initial phase of construction shall be developed to include the following elements and associated support systems based on the master plan that we received direction on in March of 2023 to move forward with. In terms of site elements, it will include the spray ground in so much as to only incorporate it into the existing this existing feature into the overall fenced facility. No structural or systems renovations are included in this scope of work. We, however, as the Parks and Rec Department, will continue to do the annual maintenance, and we actually have in this fiscal year, we have budgeted to do resurfacing of the spray ground. So we will continue to do those improvements independent of this project.
the picnic area under the oak grove. This includes the development of sidewalks and picnic areas within the existing tree canopy without damage to the existing trees to the greatest extent possible. Activity pool and slides, which would include 2 tower slides, separate and distinct from one another, a 25-meter by 25-yard competition pool with 2 diving boards, and the therapy pool. In terms of the architectural program elements, it includes the main building, which is a total of just under 9,000 square foot, which would house the administration area, including offices, first aid, ticketing, as well as concessions, not only the prep and service area, but seating as well, restrooms, a locker area, support services such as storage and IT closets, janitorial space, and a divisible multi-purpose room, which we anticipate using for rentals such as birthday parties, other private functions. It can also serve as a training location. Alicia and her team do quite a bit of training, not only for our department and the city, but also are starting to branch out and do trainings for the community as well this year. So we're excited for that piece. This building will also include just under 2,000 square feet of a walkway that's covered so that we have safety from the elements. The additional building, once you get into the complex, so it will include a changing and restroom facility, 2 400 square foot shade structures, and the existing building that we either call the bubble room or the classroom affectionately, there will be exterior improvements made to that building so that it is painted and refinished to look the same architectural style as the new building will. There will not be any interior finishes, structural improvements, or systems that are worked on inside of the building, so it'll just be external. The pool mechanical building will be built adjacent to that. So the lazy river is the only master plan amenity excluded from the design, and this will be designed and constructed as funding becomes available. Assuming that the City Commission awards Borelli & Partners design services, it's anticipated that the notice to proceed will be issued during the month of February. The tentative project schedule includes a data collection and master plan confirmation phase, during which a 2D site rendering will be provided. Conceptual and schematic design shall follow, each with 3D renderings to be reviewed by staff, the Design Review Committee, and City Commission. As appropriate, the design development phase, construction document phase, each at 30 and 60% completion, and permitting phase at 100% completion, shall additionally incorporate consultation and review with our authority having jurisdiction, the Water Management District, Department of Environmental Protection, Department of Health, and SwiftMud. Detailed cost estimates will also be provided at each of these intervals, allowing for any value engineering that may be needed. Finally, Borelli & Partners will assist with the project bidding and oversee the construction, contract administration, and observation, as well as project closeout. So this slide here shows the whole project schedule for the remainder of the project, not just this design phase, pending approval. And again, under the assumption that we are issuing a notice to proceed in February, we will begin a 14-month project design to be completed in April of '25. The construction phase, including permitting, bidding, and actual construction, is anticipated to take 16 months for a completion date of August 2026, which leads us to a phenomenal grand opening for our Dunedin community. So we'll pause here to take any questions that you may have before we turn it over to Les.
Okay, questions? Yes.
Start with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had this discussion outside of the meeting, but I wanted to bring it into the light, so to speak. The 1,000 square foot multipurpose room, which is 1,000 square feet, that can be divided for 2 different rooms. It's my understanding in talking to other communities, this is a huge revenue generator. I'm going to try to talk a little better. I'm just concerned if we understand if those are large enough, because I know it got kind of value engineered down from 1,500. And so do we know what the capacity is for each of those rooms? Have we thought about what the typical event, birthday party, events that people will rent for would be, so that we make sure we don't open the doors, kind of similar to community center. As soon as we opened the door, we knew the fitness room was too small. I just don't want to make that mistake. So I guess I'll put it on you guys to answer that.
Yes, we did go back and we looked at the sizes of the rooms, and we compared the Elliott room, and we also compared our music room. The Elliott room is approximately 1,500 square feet, and the music room's a little over 1,800 square feet. So originally we did have 1,500 listed in our scope, and as we go through the design stage, we can take a look at expanding that back to the original square footage that we originally had in the plan. We could find, hopefully we can find some other areas to value, but I think that it is important to right-size that building for those reasons. Not only does it, will it be available for those type of parties and activities, but it also is real important when we have lots of our campers on the deck and we need to get them out of the weather very quickly.
Thanks, Vince. I think that's important. And someone was whispering that in my ear, that do not underscore the importance of those rooms and the activities and the rentals and the revenue generation and make them too small.
I would like to add that when Alicia and I completed some pro forma budgets and different operation numbers, that if you had to exclude some of the rental revenue based off of either loss of slides or a compressed size for the multipurpose room, that the cost recovery was much less without those elements in it. So that rental space is definitely key to enhancing and increasing our cost recovery rate.
Great. Okay, let's see. I did talk a little bit with Vince about whether parking was included in this. He said it was not, but I think you guys have done some stuff to look at adequate parking, and that'll be kind of done separately, right? Correct?
Yes. Presently, did you want any further?
I mean, I don't know if anybody else wants to hear about the parking comment, but go ahead.
Yeah, we have some ideas to increase the capacity. First of all, pickleball will be moving to Eagle Scout Park, so that'll be one help, because there are a lot of people that are playing that sport at Highlander Park. But we can make some adjustments to the storage area just north of the fire station, and we could pick up about 50 spaces that way, so we can increase the capacity to about 250 parking spaces.
And that, in your opinion, would match capacity that we'd really need?
I think so. And then, there's also scheduling of activities. The pool gets used mostly during the daytime. Little League and our sports programs, besides the weekends, gets played mostly in the evening time. So we can work through our schedules that way, but we also can create some additional parking on the east side of the existing parking lot on the grass, as we do for special events. We can use that area as needed.
Okay. Jorge, maybe this is for you. I know that there's a lot of built-in contract management, reviewing the bills, et cetera, when everything goes into construction, but who will be our point person on city staff to be the project manager?
As far as engineering, I can't give you a name right now. As you know, we're kind of short-staffed. We are bringing some additional employees in. We've got an inspector that's starting later this month, as well as an engineer too, more of a utility background. So we are going to need to fill some vacancies. I can't give you a body or a name right now, but the intent would be to augment what's already in the contract. As Jocelyn mentioned, the construction duration is 16 months. Borelli's got at least 20 in-person on-site visits throughout the course of that. They've got twice monthly virtual meetings that, of course, we'll participate in as staff as well to monitor the progress of the contractor. So I don't know that I can give you a name right now, but that the intent would be to try to provide those services as we fill those vacancies.
And I'm just going to say this almost because I want it to happen. Vince and Jocelyn, Alicia, of course, Alicia, you live in the house, so to speak. Nobody knows the house like somebody who lives in the old house and wants a good new house. I think, this is just game on for all of you guys in that role. So I don't think I have any more questions.
Okay. Commissioner Twanga, any questions?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I do. First of all, before I begin my questions, I have to ask this because my first question I was going to ask depends on this a little bit as well. Did I hear you say that we were going to add the lazy river afterwards?
At a future date.
That's been decided?
It's not being designed as part of this master plan.
Correct.
If we choose to do it, it would come once we were able to fund it. It was one of the higher ranking amenities for this facility. So it shows in one of the versions of the master plan. We're not designing it. We're not spending the money to design it. But as Jocelyn said, it could come at a later date.
So that's not been approved, correct?
No.
Okay.
Correct.
So my first question was going to be about parking. And now that you say that may be coming later, now I really have a question about the parking. I had concerns before. Let me ask a question that may relate to that. What is leaving the area that's there currently? You have pickleball there. And so can you describe what's leaving the area? The pickleball courts are leaving the area.
Pickleball courts will be reloading to Eagle Scout. We're getting very close to putting that out to bid. We also have are you asking what, besides, there's no other program leaving except for that, the pickleball. There's still tennis, there's still Little League baseball, and softball. There's.
Thank you, Vince. That's what I was asking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are creating additional parking spaces. We have to make some adjustments to where we store certain maintenance equipment, and we feel comfortable that we can find a location to relocate the barricades and that side of thing.
Because I'm curious now, if we wish to go further with the lazy river, it would seem to me like we may end up with a parking problem there, or a traffic and parking issue in that area. But I'm going to assume that we haven't. That's not
right, and that's not part of the scope of this project at all.
Exactly. So I just wanted to clarify that. We talked previously about the recovery rate, and I asked that question not only from a financial side of a recovery rate, but I asked that from the concept of who can use the pool, who can utilize the pool, how much would it cost for somebody to utilize this design for a pool. So, and we talked a little bit about that. Would you mind just repeating what you had told me, and that will clarify,
Absolutely.
make me comfortable.
So we do, in our initial presentations,
But may I just for a second. So anybody that's listening, when I'm saying recovery rate, we need to define what that means. That means somebody's going to pay to use something, and what is it that we're attempting to recover? And it's the operational expenses, correct?
Correct.
Generally, in this particular
plus our
case.
staffing, yes.
And then you'll discuss about how much that might be and what you're looking at, if you would.
So when we were initially presenting the concept of a pool just in theoreticals, and we were seeking direction from you in terms of what you were looking for, the idea of an intergenerational facility came together. What does Dunedin want to be, and what do we want this facility to be? So we think that this master plan fulfills that need, and we envision it to be more than what the current facility that we have can accommodate. Most of the time it's typically coming for a specific program or for lap swims the open swim time that we have is kind of minimized, and it's a seasonal operation. With this, we think that we'll be building something that can be more of a destination and a gathering place for families. Will enhance and increase the amount of time that families will spend there. And so when we were looking at the increased amenities that we would be able to offer, as well as looking at what other local municipalities are charging, we are right now kind of guesstimating that we would charge an admission of $6 a person. That's just planning right now. That's not a concrete number. And if we build that into the other fee structures that we have for our current either facility rentals or other programs, we are looking at anywhere from a 70 to 80% cost recovery. We're hoping that initially there'll be that spike where it could be more or closer to the 80% range, knowing the popularity of the facility, but we are pretty confident that a 70% cost recovery rate is sustainable.
And would you define cost recovery? Just
Sure.
So the cost our employees, the cost our chemical things that go into
Yes,
keeping the place,
so
the
cost would
maintenance?
include everything that is required to operate the facility or the complex. So that would include staffing, that would include all your overhead costs in terms of supplies, materials, IT charges, the other charges that we have in terms of maintenance. It would include the chemicals, the equipment, materials for events and programming, everything, kit and caboodle. So that is the overhead expense, and then you are trying to recover a certain percentage of that, and through that is revenue based off of admissions from either general admission, events, or programming.
And so if we have folks from outside of the area, what do we charge today to use the pool?
Can I just interject?
Yes.
And in no means to be disrespectful to anyone, but the item that we're here today to discuss is to award design services. It's not about any of the things that we're talking about now. And I understand we get little time to talk about it, but if we do want to talk about the cost recovery and all that, I think we need to do that at a separate time. This is simply about design services, and we could be here for 3 hours talking about all kinds of things. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any way, but we are here to talk about the design services and that contract. And I just want to keep it to that.
So we're asking for a design service for the elements that are included in here. And I'm just trying to understand each one of those elements that are included
That's great.
in this. And the consequences of us designing that. It's like somebody saying, I'll give you a house, and you take the house, but you got to take care of the house.
No, and I get that, but we have had those conversations before about what the design elements are. Now it's time to award the bid to do the actual design concept. So what I'm saying is that we've covered some of those things. It will not be up to us to determine the price there. We can certainly have input with Jennifer if we want to have a discussion, but this is strictly to talk about the design, awarding the design contract, which doesn't, we have to assume that our folks have done their job to look at what we can afford to do and what we can afford to charge. This just doesn't have anything to do with that, is what I'm trying to say. And
Mayor,
again, I want you
I
to get your questions answered, but that doesn't have anything to do with the design contract.
I don't wish to make any assumptions about a project that could cost from 11.4 million up, and they are going to be responsible for the construction management of this.
But we're not even
So the
moving
design-
forward into construction. This is simply design,
No,
and it's a
design is
contract.
$1.4 million.
It is.
Okay?
It is.
So-
I get it, but we have already seen these renderings. I'm saying to you, we're here to talk about design contract. Those things have already been discussed, and that's not what we're here to discuss today.
I'm looking at a concept rendering. Now, I can't answer these questions to constituents if they ask me the questions that I'm asking. If I get the answers to these, I can.
But I guess that would have been a part of your agenda review?
I did.
Okay. I'm just saying, today, we're here to talk about the design contract. It's important that this has been in so many phases. And I don't want to stop you from getting all your questions answered. It's not what my intent is. But as the chair of this board, I also have to keep us on topic. And these large projects, we all tend to go off topic. And it's in my effort to stick with this piece of it. Because we have talked about the pool, I don't know, at least 6 or 7 times maybe, if not more. So this isn't new stuff for us. So I'm just trying to keep us on topic, but I think Jorge can make sure that Jennifer is aware that Commissioner Torga has some questions about the return on investment and what we're going to cost out, and I'm sure you all can satisfy those questions for him so that he can answer to his constituents. Thank you. Do you have some other questions that are not involved in the return on the ROI, but maybe more on the design contract? I mean, I agree with you on both of you on the parking thing. I think that's part of the design, for sure.
Included in the cost estimates or in what we might end up realizing are the costs of keeping the pool warm, I would assume. And we discussed some of that in detail the other day after my agenda review, and then I was turned over and had the opportunity to talk with you. I think that it's a big question I've been attempting to answer for some people. And you gave me some numbers, and you're looking at. Can you just tell me what you told me so that I don't have to ask that question again?
So right now, we are estimating that annual costs in terms of heating any body of water would be around $70,000. That is included in that pro forma budget that we did, so it's included in that overhead. But that would include heating the main pool as well as the therapy pool. We're looking to keep the main pool, currently our plan is to keep the main pool open year-round, and there could be some reduced hours or reduced programming in terms of the therapy pool so that we're not necessarily having to heat that as much throughout the year.
And you've been updated on the costs of the construction as it applies to your conversations leading up to us awarding this from a design standpoint. So those numbers that you gave to us at 11.4 have been updated relatively recent. We just went through this with a previous project where we had a problem. And I'm just making sure that we don't end up in that area again. Or I'm attempting to make sure that we don't end up in that area again.
As are we. We're extrapolating and kind of guesstimating certain numbers, but we've worked with George a number of times in terms of cost estimating and making sure that we had good numbers to present. So I feel confident in that.
The contingency has been built in as well as escalation into those numbers.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
George said contingency as well as escalation has been built into the numbers.
Let me just look at my notes here real quick. Thank you.
Is that it, Commissioner Torga? Yes. Okay. Commissioner Gale?
Thank you, Mayor. Most of my questions have been asked and answered, but Ventus might sound like a rabbit hole, but just real quickly, on the Gladys Douglas Park, the Douglas Hackworth House, do you know when we might be planning on doing something with that?
I'm sorry, what does that have to do with the design build of the pool?
In-
I got to ask you the same question.
In my head, Vent, is it going to be a science center?
I'm not following the
I know.
question.
My thought is we're going to do something with the Gladys Douglas House.
Yes.
Most likely, it's going to be a science center, which in Jeff's head, that opens up the Fisher House, what I call the Fisher House, which is currently the science center over by the pool.
The Nature Center,
The
gotcha.
Nature Center. So there's an
Present-
opportunity to tear that down for more parking. I'm sorry. it was the wrong way
Presently,
around.
we have put together a scope of services for the remaining,
See, he just sent me over the edge. I was like, what, I got two of you now?
for the, do you want me to answer that question?
Yeah, answer it.
For the remaining elements, of the remaining activities that we're committed to by grant. So we have a scope of services now, and we're giving some of our short list of architects and engineers to give us a price, and that
You're
price.
talking about GDP.
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't need to know
Yeah,
deadlines.
he's just trying to say, we may have the property over there that could be used for parking or stuff
That's where
at Highlander.
that's where I was going. We have future.
So we are going to be evaluating that house as part of our scope of service.
Okay, there you go.
That
Anything else?
circuitous.
I know, I was like, wait
I'd
a
like to thank
minute.
everybody for following me on that journey. The ones that were able to.
Nobody said we followed.
I was going to say, the ones that were able to. And
I know, I was too. I was like, what? What are we doing?
you guys try to live in this head. It's hard.
Try to live
It's
in mine,
hard.
baby. Equal, it is. Anything else?
The timeline with this, how comfortable are we with the timeline of the project?
I'm very comfortable with it. I think from start to finish, we're talking about 30 months. And maybe George can weigh in on this as well.
Yeah, I mean, I believe, we're certainly comfortable with the schedule for design because we control that schedule primarily. The schedule for construction is an estimated schedule based on our experience and our sub-consultants' experience designing and being involved in the construction of these types of facilities, and feel like we have a very, very good estimate on the time frame. Now, contractor will be required to provide his own schedule, and he may have other timelines, but we believe we're in the range of months that would require to build this type of project.
Okay, and inflationary pressures are coming down a little bit and stabilizing, so.
Your mouth to God's ears.
Utmost confidence, 2024 is going to be a good year. There's actually all the questions. I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Walker?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Just so that I understand, so Borelli's going to be with us through not only the design phase, but also in the source selection for the construction bid, right?
Yes, he's going to be monitoring the construction and all the closeout.
Okay. And the valuation and the possible value engineering that might have to go into this, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when we come out of the project design and we have a design, and then this goes to solicitation to the contract or the construction company, I'm assuming then it would be essentially build to print or build to design. That will be the boundaries and the scope of that bid. Is that correct?
Yes, it would be a design, bid, build.
Okay, perfect. I recognize those terms. Okay. And I don't, this may be something that's still in discussion, but is the contractor construction, do you envision them having any sort of leeway in the scope that they provide in their proposal or anything, and if you don't have an answer for that now, that's fine. I'm just kind of curious as to, because what I've seen, and I've been involved with a few of these, there's scope creep that occurs as we go through from design and into the bid phase, and I just want to kind of understand what that process looks like.
Commissioner, if I could, and I'll have George chime in as well, but as we went through and did the negotiations of their scope and fee, those were some of the things that we identified and clarified. There was some ambiguity when they first submitted as to the contract mechanism, whether it was going to be a construction manager at risk, CMAR project, or a design bid build, or a design build project. And so the mechanism that's being proposed here is Borelli and Partners will design the project, We will have all the design documents, the bid specifications, all that included. That'll be prefaced by our contract documents, our standard contract documents. As Vince said, we will bid that out to either pre-qualified contractors if we happen to do that ahead of time, as far as contractors that just specify or target this kind of work and have the experience and the history in doing this kind of work, or if we'll just put it out to a general GC population. So we will put that out to bid. And as far as scope creep, once the contract documents are advertised, there is an opportunity for clarifications during the bid process that would be addressed in an addenda they would submit for any questions that they might have as far as clarifications of what they're bidding. But it is what's called a hard bid. So they would bid the project, and then we would evaluate those bidders and make a recommendation, obviously relying heavily on Borelli and Partners, the review of those bids. But George, did you want to add to that?
Jorge, I think you pretty much hit it on ahead in terms of the services. You guys will advertise it. We'll help generate some names, and then help review the bids and review references, and give our recommendation of who you should ultimately select. And that selection would ultimately be your decision, but we certainly would help in that process and make our recommendation to you as to who we think is the most qualified bidder for the price.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Great response. That's all I got.
Okay, I'm just going to reiterate on the parking for this in the design. You said it wasn't part of the design?
It wasn't part of Borelli's design.
Okay, so let me just ask this. I don't want to go in the weeds. I just want to make sure that when we looked at the projected usage, that we have the number of parking spaces, that we have a number that we know we need to achieve. And is that true? We know the number we need? Because, if we know the number we need, then I would think we would want our design people to be looking at the best place to put that. But is that, let me ask you this, are you leaving that out of the design build because you feel like you can handle that on your own to save money, I'm assuming?
It was a cost-saving
Okay.
effort, yes.
Okay,
We
that's
haven't-
fine, and I'm fine with that. I just want to make sure we make everybody and their brother in this city have a parking plan and parking counts that meet certain criteria. So I just want to make sure that we're doing the same for ourselves, especially in a very constrained area. If it's not going to be a part of this design, I just want your all's commitment that we're going to do that. And you know that, what's that area? I'm sorry, I'm trying to think direction. Okay, west, east. When you talk about the east side, you're talking about that back side of the pool where everybody parks?
Where the special event parking would be.
Right, but when you say east,
East of the parking lot.
oh, I'm thinking, okay.
But
East
we're
would
actually
be-
saying north of the fire station.
Yeah, north side is where special event parking drives in from the gravel parking lot or the whatever.
Yes.
Is that where you're talking about?
We're talking about north of the old fire station. So when they drive in.
Oh, on the other side.
On the right side as they're driving in.
On the other side, okay,
Yes.
so that's on the west side of the road.
That's on the west side, but we also can look at some area as needed on the east side of the park.
Okay, so in the design process, whether this gentleman is doing it or you all are doing it, that will all be worked through by the time the pool's done, right?
So, as I often do in a lot of the staff meetings, it's my job to translate to make sure everybody's speaking the same language. So
Exactly.
I'm gonna articulate to you guys what I'm hearing. Okay, from what I heard from Commissioner
Parking
Tornga
plan.
and what I heard from the mayor is whether or not it's been excluded from Borelli's scope of services. The question is there sufficient parking, either existing or resurfacing or grass parking proposed north of the existing pool area that's going to satisfy the needs of this current design? If they're, obviously, when we do the lazy river in the future, assuming funding becomes available, then there's obviously going to be parking requirements
Additional
generated
parking.
in addition to what the current proposal is. So that would be something that you need to incorporate into that design component, assuming again that there's sufficient funding to do so. So if I'm hearing what the commission is saying, the question is the current design and the current parking requirements for what you anticipate the usage to be in this scope of services, whether it's been excluded from Borelli's fee because of the thought
Cost.
process being that we can do it more economically, or we can make it part of a future paving project or something that ultimately it's got to come out of the project budget. So the question I'm hearing is there adequate parking, whether Borelli does it or not, which sounds like it's not included in their scope of services. The question is there adequate parking to support what's being proposed at this time?
Once we have the pickleball players move, which they will be moving within the next year, and with the addition of the parking spaces north of the old fire station, and with the opportunity to add some parking as needed on the east side of the parking, the answer is yes.
Okay, so, and we don't have to decide this second, because I don't want to hold this up. But I want somebody, again, every construction project out there has I'll call it traffic person, which is parking, movement within there and all of that. This is a heavily used area with lots of uses. So we're going to do this thing. I want to use the right word. I'm not going to say the bad word, but I'm going to say cluster. I don't want it to be congested more than it is now. And you get 2 baseball games and people going to the pool and people going to the nature center and people doing the fire station. If you got a special event in the middle of that, we are in trouble. So I just want to make sure that I love you guys and I think you have a lot of expertise, but I want somebody with circulation and parking expertise to tell us how many spaces we need and if we need to move anything around. It's too important. That area is just too important. It doesn't have to be built into this. I'm not trying to change this. Or if you want to do an addendum later, I don't know. And maybe we can just get a little local contractor that can look at it. I just feel very strongly that it is too important of an area that we need to do this right, and we need to do it the first time. And I'm not saying you're not doing it right. I'm just saying I just want double check.
Mayor, can I?
Yes, ma'am.
Just because, I mean, when I brought up parking, and we had a big talk about it this afternoon, obviously I don't know what you guys are thinking, and you have the same concern. And so now that I've heard, some of those thoughts, it goes back to kind of what Vince and I did talk about, which, in a lot of our facilities, and this is a big facility, make no mistake, it's a pool, but it's a big facility, and every time we do plan, we have our parking plan, and it coordinates with the new facility. So I agree, and we had talked earlier about, Vince putting together a plan, since it's not done here, but maybe the better way to do is, what is the expertise we need, and then maybe it ends up to be an addendum, maybe it doesn't, maybe we have the expertise, but I just want to kind of jump on.
And I don't
the
know what we
importance
need.
to,
It's just too important, and we require everybody else in the city to do this. So I feel like we should require ourselves to do it because it's too important, especially, we don't want to be taking chunks out of Highlander Park if there's some other creative way to do something that some traffic engineer knows how to do, that we don't. You know what I'm saying? The space is too important. The baseball fields are too important. The nature center is too important. I know you've got the storage issues. I mean, and maybe it's another little project that is saying, come and design this space. This is where the pool's going, so where else, how do we circulate through here the right way? I don't know. I just want to make sure we have enough parking and that it is not congested as much as it can be right now. I mean, I've been going to those fields for 20 years. I got a 25-year-old now. Shoot, I'm getting old. But I've spent a lot of time at those fields, playing games. I spent a lot of time at that pool when he was young. He's spent a lot of time at this pool now as an adult, so I just know how it gets in that particular area. It's crazy. It can be. You add this beautiful facility, it's going to be crazy. So I'll leave it with you. We don't have to have an answer right now. I just want to make sure, and again, if we have to do an addendum to this, or if we have our own people, however you guys find the most fiscally responsible but correct way of doing this, because it's not just number of parking spaces, it's circulation. And I think your idea was good. I mean, now I already know the hammock people are going to be like, we need to have a nature center by hammock because that's a different nature than what's over at GDP. I already know what we're going to hear.
Hammock day camp. It's a big focus for hammock day
Yeah, but
camp.
hammock day camp doesn't use the nature center.
Do they not use it anymore? For summer camps?
They're outside.
You guys don't use that anymore?
They go to the pool.
Hammock day camp is primarily housed out of the park itself.
Okay.
So nature camp uses the nature center.
Nature camp.
Okay.
But that's like.
Either way, I knew some of the summer camps.
There is a
still
separate
use
camp
it.
that is using that facility.
But nature
during the
camp
summer.
too is probably going to move over to GDP, you would think.
It depends on the scope of what that nature center is.
Yeah, we'll work on that later. All right, so you kind of get where we're going. Does everybody agree with that? I mean, I know Commissioner Twanga brought up the concern about parking, right?
I did.
And,
There's also traffic management.
yeah. Yeah, I just think that's really important, so.
I'll share
you
with
all say-
Jennifer those comments and concerns, and we'll see if
Yeah.
that's something we do in-house. We enlist one of our GEC traffic engineers, or we add an addendum to.
Yeah,
that
it's just
scope.
too important to cut off.
Well, and if I could just add this, because I said this, I commented about this in the budget sessions about, we only have so much land to move stuff around. And it's important if we know now, if we're going to have to use some of that storage area for parking area, and we need to find a place for some of that somewhere else and figure that out. So and we don't want to figure that out, as the thing's being built.
Well, and that's the point. What if, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but I'm just going to say, what if they want to move the pool over 5 feet? Because they need to have more space to logistic for the traffic flow. I mean, I just don't know. But anyway, I leave it to you. Okay, Les, you wanted to present something and then we go to public comment?
Sure, yeah. I'd like to briefly go over Exhibit E, which is the capital project budget with the commission. Just make a few comments. The total budgeted project cost for the aquatic complex is $11.8 million. That includes $1.362 million for design, and we have $10,389,000 in construction based on current budget amounts. And the funding sources for the project are $9.6 million for Penny for Pinellas, $1.245 million in ARPA federal funding, and $1 million donation for the therapy pool. And want to mention again that as we did through the budget process, that to complete the project in a timely manner, we will be issuing debt financing in the Penny Fund. And our estimate is that with the current project schedule, that we would issue $6.6 million in financing. The financing schedule with the current project schedule would be we would do a bank loan RFP in February 2025 and then project to close the loan in April 2025 to have the funding in place for construction. The final maturity date of the loan, I want to mention it would be 10/1/2029 before Penny 4 has expired. And I want to mention we had one small budget change. There's a budget amendment form in the staffing, and we really were basically moving $98,000 from the ARPA funding to the Penny Fund, and this all has to do with just making sure that if the construction is not done by August 2026 and it goes beyond December 2026, that would pose a problem for ARPA funding. So we're moving some dollars from ARPA funding to Penny funding on the project, so we don't have to worry about that.
Okay, so Les, just to be clear, tonight, we're not voting on this financing plan.
No.
This is just, again, for our information,
Just
which we have
information only.
seen before.
Correct.
Maybe some of the numbers have changed. Tonight, all we're voting on is the design. that design is going to, Jorge, what's the next vote we'll have? Approval of construction?
Yeah, as.
And that's when we'll see this the final financing plan?
Correct.
Because you'll go out to bid.
As
So-
we go through, as
Right.
I indicated during the different phases, we'll have touch points with updated cost estimates. Obviously, the ultimate one is when you bid the project and you get bid solicitations. And so at that point, we would then make a recommendation as to the award component of construction.
I just
and the
wanted to,
cost.
I didn't want to go down a rabbit hole with everything, because you've shown us this several times. Numbers have been a little bit different here or there, but this is just the next iteration. We're not voting on this tonight.
That's
And we
correct.
get another bite at the apple as to, once we get close to bidding, we'll see what those bids come in at.
Mhm.
You go and do the financing plan, and then we approve it.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay. Any questions for Les? Okay. I'm going to open this up. Was there anything else? Anyone from the public wish to speak to this item? Vinny! How the heck are you, buddy? I keep seeing you here, but I don't hear from you anymore.
Thank you, Vinnie Luisi, 854 Cambridge Court. First of all, I want to thank you. I came here for the circulation issue, so I'm really pleased that came up.
Oh, good.
But again, being involved with the community and all these organizations, you've got 2.5 years of a lot of activity. I just want to make sure the high school, the running organizations, Little League, they're all aware of what's happening, when it's happening, and what they're going to be able to do or can't do. The Highland Games, the Celtic Festival.
He'll tell the schools.
Again, I came up, a lot of that was addressed, but again, kudos on that, because I came here thinking a lot of people may not even know this is happening.
It's huge.
And they're going to plan these activities 2 years ahead of time, and they'll plan these activities, and all of a sudden there's this roadblock. So I want to just thank you and keeping that all in mind while this is going on.
Well, and Vince, you're the special event guru, all of you
All
guys.
the Christmas, Halloween,
Yeah.
all of it. I mean, and I'm thinking, as a runner, the running, because high school used that for their cross-country.
I know
And
they do.
so all of that. So thank you for thinking of those ideas.
Thank you, Benny. Appreciate it. Anybody else wish to come forward? Okay, so Vince, y'all probably want to, I mean,
all
I
of
don't need to
their-
tell you how to do your job, but you all will make a list of all those kind of people that either use for an event specifically, or we already know the swim team, the cross-country team, heck,
all of
even the
them.
golf carters, you know, and the adjoining neighborhoods and the construction stuff going on. But definitely people who plan to use Highlander Park, and the way they go in currently, which is great, is not going to be able to go in that way. So those event people need to be notified very quickly that there'll be a couple of years where things will be different, just so they can think it through.
And they're all of our partners. So we deal
There
with
you
them
go.
on a regular basis, especially the schools.
Right.
The high school girls baseball, softball team uses our
Yeah, all
field
of that.
the swim team uses our pool now and has been. So they're all of our partners, and we have a very close relationship with
Awesome.
all of them, including all the neighborhood,
Okay.
especially Isle.
I'm sorry. I can speak with the swim team that they're definitely looking forward to this project.
I'm
so.
sure they are. Okay, now it's time for a motion to approve the award for design services for the Highlander Park Aquatic Complex.
So moved.
Second.
All righty, Vice Mayor Franey and Commissioner Walker. Final comments. Vice Mayor Franey.
Yes. Well, I just want to say I'm really excited that we're going into this phase. This is a long-awaited project. We've discussed the pool and the master plan at length. It's the last signature project for the current decade of Penny for Pinellas. We're one of the oldest communities in Pinellas, a lot of homes with no pool. It's Florida, it's hot. We have one pool in our community. It ought to be special.
and it's a hole in the ground right now, and it's been that way for a long time. We have a lot of responsibility in teaching kids to swim. There's a lot of intergenerational aspects to this whole design, and of course we have the $1 million donation that goes with that for the therapy pool. Not just a pool, and Vince, you said this, it's a place to gather. It's a place to be a community, and in hot Florida, that's important. So I am really happy with the activity pool, with the slides. I think that's a draw to our teens. It's important that we provide things for our teens and pull them in. And going back to a comment, I will say the recovery fee we talked about earlier, the potentially 70-75% recovery fee compared to 25% recovery now because we have a hole in the ground. I'm just super excited, and I'm just going to say, George, I can't see George right now. He's not on my screen, but George, I've been told great things about you, and I have high expectations for you and your company, and I'm counting on you coming through for me. So just excited. This is a really, really important project for this community, and it's been a long time coming.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Walker?
Yes, I concur with everything the Vice Mayor just said. This is a very exciting project. Having spent my entire life in or around aquatics, I've got to tell you, I'm excited about it, and this will be a focal point for the community. And anyway, let's get going.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Gao?
Let's get going.
Commissioner Torga?
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's important that we have a presentation like this, and so that other people can hear this, or that certainly our residents and our constituents can hear this, and that we have an opportunity for people to come up and bring up points as Vinny has done here. I think it's important that each one of us look at each aspect of this because it does affect our community. Positively, we want to make sure we don't have any negative effect on the community. So we all talked about positive things, and those are wonderful. So we have to make sure we don't have any negative, and that's why we bring some of these things up. So I appreciate you being available to talk with me, for example, by telephone before this, after my agenda review where I was directed to you. But some of the questions that I have are questions that others had as well. So I'm glad that you covered that, and this looks like a great plan. We've been talking for a long time. This gentleman here has stood before us for a number of years now. He knows his way here, and he knows, he has a good idea of what we're interested in. So thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you, Commissioner Torga. I'm very supportive of going into design of the pool, and I'm happy. All the steps, we've been talking about a pool for decades. So very happy. I don't want to end on a rough note. I just want to remind everybody that we still have 2 other projects going on, Skinner and the parking garage, and I just want to make sure that as we're looking, when we do finally cost out, that we're looking at all of these things and we don't move forward with one at the, what's the word? I don't want to take away from another one. Yeah, at the detriment of another one. I'm not saying we're going to do that because I think we've all given clear direction that we want to do them all. So I think that I just want to remind everybody, I'm very excited. I know you guys are all really excited. He's got white hair over there. Did you notice that? I remember meeting him when he had salt and pepper hair. No more salt and pepper hair for you.
And Mayor, George Borelli told me today how excited him and his team were to have this opportunity. And
Awesome.
He has one of the best pool designers in the country, Martin Aquatics, working with him on this project. So, George, I don't know if you had anything to add to that.
Just, first of all, apologize again for not being able to make it. I wasn't there. Because
That's all right. We're used to Zoom now.
But we are very excited and honored to have your confidence in us to select us to take this to the next level. And you have my personal word. We won't let you down.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Torga?
Aye.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
Commissioner Walker?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Franey.
Aye.
Mayor Boszowski.
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously. And then the final thing we have on our agenda, thank you, George.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. You rocked it. The final thing is our agenda for Thursday, January 25th. We have a couple presentations. We have some utility thing. We have Duke Energy, we have the Duke Energy franchise agreement. Oh, that's you. That's
not
you and
me.
Jorge.
That's, yeah,
You bet,
well,
you buckle up. You better be ready to answer all those questions.
hey, I'm just the liaison. You guys bring it.
Yeah, okay, but you
ready to bring
represented
it, baby.
us, I'm just saying. We have the first reading of historic landmark designation of 501 New York and 611 Loudon. And then we have the proposed agenda. Any other changes or corrections? All righty, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Vice Mayor and Commissioner Walker, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Any informational items we must hear right now? Okay. We will adjourn. We were very kind to you.
Thank you.
Mhm.